Hello, everyone. Jay here with the Maddox Group, coming to you with our first summer 2025 OB3, or the One Big Beautiful Bill Act summer tax update. We're going to be putting out several of these over the coming weeks and months as we learn more about the details, the underlying regulations, status of forms, and full policies on these new provisions. Many of the OB3 provisions are retroactive to January 1st, 2025. So as we get the most up-to-date and current information, we'll package it in a way that makes sense for all of you and get these updates sent out to you. If anything that we talk about triggers some specific questions about your precise numbers, your unique situation, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll get you on the calendar and we'll walk through it together. So let's dive into the critical things that I want you to be aware of right now. And this is going to be around the solar energy, battery storage, and electric vehicle updates. So if you have been considering solar power for your home, if you've been considering backup battery storage for your home, power outages, just getting more self-reliant, not having to depend on the ever increasing utility fees. Those of us here on the Central Coast of California, we have to deal with Pacific Gas and Electric, which in 2024 raised our personal rates 5 times over the course of the year. So if you've been thinking about this, 2025 is the year to get it done. And the clock is ticking in order to maximize the tax benefits and financial incentives, because the system has to be paid for either through cash or a loan. Leases are not eligible for the solar tax credits, but they have to be paid for and installed by December 31st, 2025. With permitting and installation timelines, etc., you probably want to get that project moving right now. This is July 2025, in order to capitalize on the benefits. Why are we suggesting that you look at this? I'm not encouraging anyone to go into debt or to buy a system they don't need. I never would. If you've been working with me for some time, you already know that's the case. I'm never going to tell you to spend $1 to save 25 cents. However, if you're like our family and you've run the numbers, and you realize that continue to pay the utility just doesn't make sense anymore, and solar is the right thing financially for you, then next year it's going to be 30% more expensive, because the 30% federal tax credit is going to go away. And currently that tax credit is not just on solar panels, but it's on the battery backup systems. It also applies to geothermal systems. If you were going to go geothermal, which some locations that makes financial sense to do so. Much more intensive process with geothermal than solar. So would definitely be moving right away if that was a project that you were planning to do. So in our situation, just to personalize it so that you understand what we were thinking about doing, we went with a 9.84 kilowatt hour rooftop solar system from Tesla Solar. That was the right provider for us. We also went with 2 Tesla Powerwalls as our battery backup solution. Some of you may know we already had a natural gas backup generator, which we've loved we've had for several years now. We've hardly ever had to use it, but following the fires in 2020, we just wanted the reliance of never having to be off grid. And if the power went out, and every once in a while there's power outages here on the Central Coast of California. And while the Generac 24 kilowatt hour whole home generator worked very well for us, obviously it's very loud. It takes natural gas, which here in California is much more expensive than other states. And ultimately, we're still dependent upon the utility for all of our power. So finally, the math made sense to replace the generator with the solar and 2 Powerwalls. 2 Powerwalls made the most sense for our family for a couple of reasons. The first being that when you buy 2 Powerwalls, Tesla gives you quite a bit of a financial incentive, a discount on the second Powerwall. Secondly, being that our power provider, PG&E, is the power transmitter here on the Central Coast. Our actual energy provider is 3CE, used to be Central Coast Community Energy, an energy cooperative. And they right now have battery rebates of $3,900 per battery, taxpayers, with 3CE on EV vehicles, home charger infrastructure, and battery backup systems. So between the rebates from 3CE, the incentives from Tesla on the discount for 2 Powerwalls, and the ability to just get rid of the generator and not have to worry about natural gas as our backup power, we're going to wind up getting the 2 Powerwalls for roughly $1,200, and that's before the tax credits applied as well. So the Powerwalls are essentially going to come through us at no cost. And we are getting, of course, the 30% tax credit on the solar panel system as well. So when you put it all together, our overall system was pushing up around $46,000. And after incentives and rebates will be just around $21,000, which if we looked at our average utility bill, the electric side only, we'll still have some natural gas, that was going to result in, at current rates, assuming no future increases, which with Pacific Gas and Electric, we know there's going to be future rate increases. There's already 2 that have been announced as planned. But at current rates and current usage, we'd be able to have the system paid off at less than 4 years. So that made perfect financial sense for our family. Doesn't make it for everybody, but if those numbers, are starting to jive with something you're thinking, you're looking at your overall situation, again, now is the time. Has to be installed by December 31st of 2025. The second thing simultaneous to this, and another reason that we went with Tesla, is because of the electric vehicle credits. And those are going away as of September 30th of 2025. And the EV credit is applicable to a certain number of electric vehicles that are manufactured or assembled largely in the United States. Tesla, Rivian are 2 of the biggest beneficiaries of those. There are other vehicles on the Federal Department of Energy's website that are eligible for those credits, and some used vehicles as well. They don't get the full $7,500. They have, I think it's up to $4,000 on the EV, used EV, depending on certain parameters. But those vehicles need to be delivered to the consumer by September 30th, 2025, and they need to be purchased or financed, not leased. So if you were considering doing so, you need to make sure you get that done by September 30th, 2025. There are Tesla and other manufacturers may have a lease incentive with the $7,500 credit, but on your personal tax return, that's not applicable here. So I want you to be aware of that. The other reason why EVs are on, and so for us, Tesla Solar, there are a couple of great solar companies out there locally here in our region on the Central Coast. Scudder Roofing Solar is a great local company, well respected. We've known Pete Scudder for years and years and just think quite fondly of that company. There's certainly an option. Primo Roofing is another local provider that comes highly recommended. And there are others. So certainly do your due diligence, get your quotes, and make sense. For us, we own 2 Tesla vehicles. And so, the legacy loyalty rewards for sticking with Tesla and the tie-in with our vehicle charging infrastructure, it just made perfect sense for us to be with Tesla. For our family, they were the absolute perfect arrangement. They may not be for everybody. That's why there's other folks out there to look at. I know Scudder in particular does sell Tesla Powerwalls as part of their installation, so you could still have that benefit. So the EV, if you're a Tesla owner and you're looking at solar, that might be a thing to do. If you already have a solar system and you're looking to expand the system, you still can. But again, the expansion needs to be done by December 31st to qualify for the 30% tax credit. If you already have a battery backup system and you want to add to that and to get the 30% tax credit, get that done and installed by December 31st. And the reason why I want to get this information out to you first in these updates is that there's a new deduction under the OB3, which is the auto loan interest deduction. Now, there's going to be some income qualifications. If you make over $100,000 as a single filer or over $200,000 as a married filing joint, the deduction begins to phase out at the rate of $200 per $1,000 that exceeds that adjusted gross income threshold. But it's up to $10,000 in auto loan interest a year is now a deduction on your federal tax return for vehicles that are assembled in North America and purchased in tax years 25 through 28. And then that's going to go away. So be very aware if you're thinking about buying a new a new or used auto, and it was assembled in North America, and you are loaning it, getting a loan on it, not a lease agreement, then this is a new tax deduction for you, provided you're within those income thresholds. And so it is stackable. And again, I'm not encouraging you to buy cars. I wouldn't encourage you to buy something you don't need. But if you are in a situation where you're planning to buy a vehicle, and I'm not a huge fan of debt, as many of you know, and so I'm not encouraging you to get an auto loan. But if you're in a position where you need to get an auto loan, you don't have other options, then the new deduction is something that might be of use. It's a benefit, not as a strategy to go into debt, but a benefit of something that you're already doing. If you have an auto debt, you're going to get a deduction for it if you meet those qualifications. But the vehicle has to be assembled in North America, has to be purchased in 2025 or after, up to 2028. And it is stackable with the EV credit. So if you were to get a loan on a new EV or even a used EV, and you can get the credit if it's an eligible vehicle for the federal tax credit, if it's delivered by September 30th of 2025 to you, and you'd be able to claim the loan interest starting with your 2025 tax return. So to highlight, December 31st, 2025 is a critical deadline for solar, geothermal, and home efficiency improvements. By the way, vehicle chargers, there are some rebates through CE, 3CE. There is the tax credit for home energy equipment on installing vehicle chargers. So if you were going to install a vehicle charger for an EV that you either own or were going to buy between now and September 30th, you can still get that credit this year. You may be asking me, Jay, you own Teslas. What do you think about them? I'm happy to have that conversation with anyone. I have with the numbers. I'm quite I think you could say a raving fan around our Tesla vehicles. I was a very anti-electric vehicle person for a very long time. It was clients like yourselves and doing your numbers and going through the credits and the expenses in 2023 that made me look at my own math and determine that the $125 a week we were paying in gas for just my car alone was a little bit nuts, and that maybe I needed to be thinking about something else. And that's when we bought our first Model Y, which was an absolute dream. My wife drives that car now. Still love it. Model Y is a phenomenal car, and the new Tesla Model Y is probably one of the best cars being made in America today. Subsequently, I then got a Cybertruck. I always loved a DeLorean. I'm a huge fan of quirky vehicles, and I have become such a fan of electric vehicles that the technology and the ride comfort and the styling and everything about Cybertruck just spoke to me. I know for a number of people it doesn't, and I'm perfectly aware. But as a Californian, where we have the California Condor and the elephant seal, I personally believe the Cybertruck is just another majestically ugly California icon, and I absolutely love driving it. For me also, and for my wife, with their commute, the full self-driving technology in Tesla is what's put us over the edge. So those are a few of the reasons why we particularly enjoy Tesla vehicles. And of course, they are made completely here in America, which if you are into supporting American workers, we're big fans of. There are other good EVs out there, particularly ones that now have access to the Tesla supercharging network, which when you're on a road trip is truly the bee's knees. Rivian makes a beautiful vehicle. I really hope that company is able to survive and thrive. It's a great company to have out there. I wouldn't personally own one at the moment. I think they have some ways to go in terms of their driving technology and their ride comfort, but absolutely beautiful, made in America. And a very, very nice design. There are some other things on the horizon as well. So I think the EV space is finally come into its own. It's a wonderful vehicle. All the ones I've driven have been absolutely wonderful to drive, more so than all the gas cars I used to have. And I'm an accountant. I'm always looking at the numbers. Was paying 125 a week in gas, pay about $60 a month in electric to charge, our vehicles now. And of course, now with the solar panels, we're able to charge on solar, which is going to make that even more affordable. So that's in a nutshell why I'm finally converted and all in on EV, and particularly Tesla. I'm happy to go through your specific numbers anytime. Feel free to reach out and answer any individual questions you have. And if any of you want to take a spin in the Cybertruck and have it take you on a little chauffeur drive, it's an absolute blast, and you're always welcome to do so. So we'll have more to come later this year as we progress and we learn more on 4 hours of continuing education into the OB3 at the moment. Much more to come, much more to parse out and digest. and see how it's applicable this year to our various clients. As always, we appreciate you. We absolutely love serving you. Don't ever hesitate to reach out with any questions, and we'll be talking to you again soon.